You had something to say. You knew the answer. You'd thought about it longer than anyone else in the room, but you stayed quiet. And afterward, you couldn't fully explain why. This isn't shyness. It's not insecurity in the ordinary sense. It's something more specific, a pattern where the more you understand something, the harder it becomes to speak, where the depth of your thinking becomes the very thing that silences you. Psychologists have a name for what sits underneath this, but first, let's talk about what it actually feels like. You walk into a conversation already 3 steps ahead. You've considered multiple angles. You've anticipated the counterarguments. By the time others are just forming an opinion, you're already questioning yours. So you wait, you refine, you look for the right moment, and the moment passes. This isn't laziness. It's not fear of success. Research on need for cognition, the psychological drive to think deeply, shows that high cognition individuals process more variables before responding. The brain treats speech like a decision, and more data means longer processing time. Here's the reframe. That silence isn't a flaw in your character. It's an adaptation. Evolutionary psychologists call this response inhibition under complexity, the brain slowing output when input is high. You weren't built to be the loudest voice. You were built to be the most considered one. The problem isn't your thinking. It's that the world rewards speed over depth. Here's the mechanism. When a complex thinker prepares to speak, the prefrontal cortex, the brain's editor, becomes hyperactive. It evaluates, it second-guesses, it over-monitors. Meanwhile, the amygdala reads social risk, what if I say this wrong, and adds emotional friction. The result, a traffic jam between thought and speech. Think of it like a high-resolution photo trying to upload on slow bandwidth. The image is detailed, the connection is the bottleneck. So what do you do with this? Step 1. Separate thinking from speaking. Your brain treats them as one process. Train yourself to speak a draft, not a final answer. Psychologically, this lowers the perceived cost of speaking, reducing amygdala activation. Real-life example? Say, I'm still forming this, but, and let yourself begin. Step 2. Lower your internal standard for contribution. High cognition people hold themselves to a perfection threshold. Cognitive behavioral psychology shows this threshold is arbitrary and raises anxiety, not quality. Remind yourself, incomplete thoughts start better conversations than silence. Step 3. Recognize the cost of withholding. There's a concept called epistemic cowardice, staying quiet to avoid social friction. Each time you do it, the brain logs it as avoidance, which deepens the habit. Ask yourself, what does the room lose when I don't speak? Step 4. Use your processing speed as timing. You think ahead. Use that. Speak after the noise settles. Your response lands heavier in stillness. Neuroscience confirms that contrast effect makes delayed responses more memorable. The person who speaks last is often heard most clearly. Here's the mental model to carry with you. You are not a broken speaker. You are a high-resolution thinker in a low-resolution moment. The goal isn't to become louder. It's to stop penalizing your own depth. You've been quiet in rooms where your words would have changed something, not because you had nothing to offer, but because you cared too much about offering it right. That's not a weakness hiding as silence. That's intelligence waiting for permission to trust itself. Maybe you can give it that now.